Hey, welcome back. We have a new knife here. I actually didn't do this unboxing on video. It's a pre-owned knife. This is Brown FSD number 31. So it's one of the earlier variants. I think around 50 or 80 or something like that. He made some changes, including the button and the jimping and some other stuff. But regardless, great knife. And this one came in a little sludgy. I actually could not even reverse flick it when it got here. I was like, wow, this thing feels like it's on, like someone swapped it to washers or something like that. As you can see now, it's quite clearly on bearings and doing quite well. And these full size to me just feel phenomenal in hand, super fidgety, and really enjoy messing around with these and flipping them out in every way that you can. Even just rolling them out. They're just great knives. This particular one is special to me because I've been looking for it for about a year. It's in 20 CV, and that's something I've been going for. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about what I did to get it to where it is, because it was sludgy, it needed to be cleaned up, and then also it had a little bit of wiggle here. So if you've had that on one of your FSDs, I'm going to talk about what I did to fix that and see if I can break some stuff. So got the trusty old Weehaw kit there. And let's go ahead and open it up. And I may Loctite this at some point, but I didn't Loctite it this time. I'm just kind of tuning it and trying to get everything right, so not super important. T8 on the pivot, T10 back here, which I think is kind of funny. Interesting that he chose to do a T10 on this screw. Be curious to know what led to that thought, because Craig's pretty thoughtful guy and he doesn't do things without a reason, in my experience. But now that those are undone, I could barely get this thing open. It was so sticky when I first got it. As you can see now, it's quite clean and just a tiny bit of lube up here, but overall looks basically like a brand new knife. If you're not familiar, these are removable. Not sure if it'll come out there, but these come out. The other one was a little stuck. But what you'll notice here is that there are these two adjustments, and they're set screws that, if you look at the way that the pivot works here, you can imagine if this was upside down. This is the one that's touching when it's closed, and this is the one that's touching when it's open, right? You can see that when this opens up, it'll be hitting against here. So if you have play when the knife is closed, right, you can see this one, right? See how that fits right in there? This is the one you need to adjust, and you adjust it very slightly. You do not want to do big adjustments on these. In fact, let me pull out a tool, and I'll even show you what you do. Because I did notice a tiny bit of opening adjustment I need to make, and hey, why not try and break it and screw it up while live on YouTube, right? So what I did for the closed action was a slight bit of tightening to this one, because this is the one that touches when it's closed. So I personally choose to do it this way. You could do it this way, but I find it harder to be as incremental. So I put it in here like this with the shorter end so that I have a bit more control. And I just moved it, I don't know, 5 or 10 degrees. That can make a big difference on these. And now it basically has almost no play. When it's open, there was a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. So I may try and do it a little more, and I'll just show you what I mean by how little. I'm gonna do it like that much. And that's it. Same thing, so this is when it's open, it'll be resting against this guy. And so if you're having a little play when it's open, I believe, I have actually never adjusted this one, to be honest, but I should just need to adjust this ever so slightly. This thing is in there very tight, by the way. I did a little bit more just because it felt so hard to move it. I was afraid maybe it won't move, but came and brought it back a little bit. So let's see what happens. That's all you do. If you're curious about the way that the rest of the internals look on this knife, maybe I'll just show you really quickly. I'm gonna be a little careful because the lock is actually retaining it right now. I'll just open that up, and then you can see what everything else looks like in here. So the bearing pocket on that side. Then this is the, you know, basically the detent and the stop pin and everything is here. That goes in here. And then you can see the brown lock, which is really cool, right? Because you're pushing it on this side of the knife, but this bar goes all the way across. It's pretty neat. So let's go ahead and put it back together and see if we did that right. You can see when it's in the lock position, you know, kind of how it sits in there. Boom. Super easy to take this knife apart. I did try and take the pocket clip off, and I don't know if these are Torx exactly. Like, they almost look like they're rounder than Torx, but it was really tight in there. And so I actually chose not to take it off when I tried to do it. I was gonna clean under there, but I was like, you know, I just basically ended up taking a rag and cleaning under there. But man, the knife went from sludgy to just working perfectly, and very excited about it. So let's see if I further messed it up now that I've messed with that opening. You know, I don't want to call it opening detent, but I guess it's the best term for it. I'm trying to think if there's a better term for that. Opening lock position, I guess, or stop pin or whatever. Doesn't seem to matter a lot if you do the pivot first, but the way that you reassemble it, the pivot's up. So I tend to screw the pivot in like until I start feeling a little feedback, and then I turn it over, swap back to the 10. Again, wishing that this was all T8 or all T10, but whatever. Get this guy in tight. Craig uses really high quality hardware, but I don't know if that's Torx. Like, you probably know that, so please leave a comment. That thing does not look like Torx. This does, but that thing looks like something rounder. I know I should have Googled that before I did this video, because now everyone's gonna think I'm an idiot, but you wouldn't be wrong. In a lot of ways, I'm definitely an idiot. Aren't we all in some ways? Aren't we all? Okay, just doing a little check there and going forward and forward until I get good lockup. Saw the old brown knives danger zone happen right there, because I put my thumb on the freaking button. Still plenty of something I did there created lock stick, so I seem to have overdone that a little bit, because now I'm getting lock stick. So I'm going to take it back apart and back off a little bit of what I did. Like I said, why not go do this live on YouTube and try something for the first time? At least it's not a live video technically. Otherwise I'd really be sweating. But let's move this tool out of the way so we don't scratch the knife. Get this back open. And good to learn that. Now you learn that for me instead of having to learn it yourself, that if you put too much on that screw, you will give yourself lock stick. So that's very interesting. So that's why I said, like, you really only need to do like 5 or 10 degrees. Anything more than that, it just makes a really big difference the way that this is configured and set up. So you want to be careful. Let's try doing this screw first this time, just for fun. I never do it this way, but since I have the T10 on, I'm kind of tempted to give it a try. Sure, it doesn't make a big difference, but when on YouTube. All right. long screw. Okay, less lock stick now, so that's good. One of my friends mentioned, by the way, if you hold this down on the table and then check, you can get a much better, like you get a little bit of play out of your hand when you do it this way. I feel like I'm pretty good at it at this point, but it's a good call to kind of take out some of the variability that might happen from holding it in your hand while you check for blade play. And I did notice that there were a couple times in a couple knives where I felt like I didn't have blade play holding it, and then I put it on the edge of the table. That's where you actually do it. You don't do it like this. You put this on the edge of the table, you know, say this is the edge of the table here, and then you can check, like hold it with your hand over here, and then check it over there. I'll do it right now. Yeah, and you'll sometimes find a little bit of blade play that you didn't notice. I just did right now when you're holding it in your hand. So really good tip from Durning Knives, if you know him, a phenomenal collector and a phenomenal dude. So that feels really good there. Be a little more careful this time. I feel like I'm all tight there now, so that feels great. There is a tiny bit of lock stick. I got a feeling it'll probably work its way out, but listen to that. So I may actually need to back that off again, which I won't bore you through doing it on video, but as you can see, you definitely don't want to overdo it on that because that'll definitely affect the knife. So good to know, but almost, yeah, really no play there now. And I'll work on the lock stick offline so you don't have to watch me do the same thing 3 times, but that's all for now. Now you know a little bit of what those screws do and what they could potentially lead to, and how to work with them. Right is tighter and left is looser, which backs things off. So if it's loose, you need to go right. If it's too tight, like you're getting lock stick, you need to go left. So righty tighty, lefty loosey, as per usual. As you can see, it's really easy to take this knife apart quickly, and there's no balancing act. I feel like sometimes, like with a hinderer, you need like 3 hands to freaking take the thing apart. So do love this knife for working on it. It's very easy. I've already taken it apart twice while talking and doing this video and flipping the knife around in 13 minutes. I could probably do take it apart and put it back together after adjusting that in, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes. So do love that about the FSD series of knives. That's all for now. Please like, subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.